run the game. I mean, sometimes I think he still thinks he has Riggins in there, but he would still like to be able to do it that way. But to be able to move it, he has to throw it.
And Rippon will throw it. Incomplete. I think some of that lack of running started last year with the late success they had when they were throwing for 300 and 400 yards every game.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to do that, but that's what his best players are. I mean, Art Monk here is one of the best guys that ever played. Ricky Sanders, a lot of speed. Gary Clark. I mean, that's their best players, so you may as well get the ball in their hand.
Makes sense. 3rd and 10. Yard line. He doesn't ever think he's down.
I'll tell you, he went down here. I think you're going to see him slip and get up. Watch Gary Clark right there, 84. You see him, he starts to make the cut. He slips, and then he just kind of stays down there and catches that hook. That was a good read by Mark Rippon getting that ball in there.
Clark has 7 catches. 1st and goal from the 6.
Clark thinks he weighs 270 pounds the way he acts sometimes.
Here's Rippon on the roll. Sanders touchdown. From 6 yards out from Rippon.
Gutting it up today. He has a bad ankle. He's playing in there. We see Aikman. He knows that it all started with his interception that he threw. Ricky Sanders is playing in there with a bad left ankle today.
Bo Miller's extra point is good, and it's Washington 17, Dallas 10 with 6:31 left to play in the 3rd quarter.
Grimm of the Washington Redskins, and this is my family. My wife Karen, my daughter Devin, my sons Cody, Chad, and Dylan. And from our family to your family, we'd like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Now there's a guy who I bet you can really enjoy some Thanksgiving.
He looked excited about it, didn't he?
Yep. James Dixon back to the 45-yard line. Almost broke it. Stephen Hobbs tripped him up after a 47-yard return.
That's what the Cowboys needed, Pat, to get some life back in them. They had the first half, the first quarter, they were dominant, and the Redskins come to life, and they took the life out of the Cowboys, and the Cowboys needed something like that returned by Dixon to get them going again.
So they'll start from their own 45. 6:20 left in the 3rd quarter. A.G. and Emmett Smith are the 2 runners. To A.G. At the Redskin 49, stopped by Alvin Walton. Gain 6.
The other thing that helps a young quarterback is always a good running game and a good offensive line. And the third thing is probably field position. That you can see Aikman in this part of the field has a lot more confidence than he did the last time they had the ball coming off that goal line.
When they're down there in the own 1, there's not much you can do.
Those are tough positions, and it's a bad place to throw a screen, too, I think.
That's Emmett Smith to the 40, 35. Alvin Walton knocked him out of bounds. A pickup of 14 yards.
That's the old counter gap, and boy, did John Giesick get a block, number 63, on Wilbur Marshall. Watch the moves here by Emmitt Smith. I mean, he gets in there, makes a heck of a move there, bounces it out, and then gets it up the field again. Let's watch John Giesick, number 63, right here. He's going to come, and right there on Wilbur Marshall, boom! That's the block that sprung him loose.
1st and 10, Cowboys. Emmitt Smith again. Not much room this time. To about the 34. Pickup of one, perhaps, Minuski. In the bottom of the pile for Washington.
It's amazing that Minuski is still playing. He hurt his knee a couple of weeks ago, and they thought he was going to be out for the season, and then he keeps coming back and playing. Minuski doing a good job. He plays in there most of the running down. You know, the Redskins got him as a special teams guy, and then he ends up as their starting middle linebacker.
He doesn't even look like the same guy we met last year.
No. He's a tough guy. He's a card-carrying tough guy, though.
Here's Aikman back to throw. Gets it down the middle to Novacek. Novacek to the 10. Dragged down by Wilbur Marshall.
I think that's the one they were working on, Pat, after all that blitzing 53 times last year. They have Novacek right there. Block, block, block. Then they ignore him. Then after they think he's just going to block, he releases right down the middle. That's kind of a check down to a tight end. You see him, he's blocking, blocking, blocking. Now he releases. So the front group is going after Aikman, and the back group has already dropped off.
1st and goal at the 10. Aikman to Smith. Scoots down to the 1. They had him in the backfield.
How in the heck did he get through there? Much of it just ran in. You talk about effort. We talk about earlier effort on the Redskins side. Look at this effort by Emmitt Smith. I mean, they got a part of it is poor tackling, but the other part of it is effort, and the other part of it is great balance.
2nd and goal from the 1. Collins is the guy who had the shot at him in the backfield. A.G. and Smith. Smith deep. Emmitt Smith. I haven't seen a referee signal. Yes, now I do. Touchdown. Tie it up. And don't forget about that kickoff return by Dixon. Another tie, 17 all. Took the Cowboys 6 plays to go 55 yards. Smith on a 1-yard run.
Some guys just have a knack in the goal line, and I think Smith is one of these guys. Just to find the crease, just to find the crack. There's not a lot there, but some guys have that feel that wherever it is, they're going to find it and just get in there enough. Pete Vanaszak, for me, years ago had that. He just had a great feel for the goal line. Emmitt Smith has it. You see, there's not a lot there, but he just finds a little part that there is, and after contact, knows where to go to get the soft spot. Tony Agee gets the lead block right there on Darrell Green, and that gave Smith the soft spot.
Emmitt Smith, as John said, a couple of outstanding runs to set up the whole thing. Both these teams will welcome the 10-day rest that they have after playing on Thanksgiving Day. Joe Howard and Brian Mitchell back deep for Washington. Mitchell at the 7. And he's sort of out of the pack up to the 30. Don't forget Sunday at 12:30 Eastern Time. It begins with the NFL today, and then it's the Giants against the Eagles.
Yeah, I hope Bill Parcells isn't watching this. Here's Pepper Johnson. That's a good headbutt, but Bill Parcells, the coach, is flinching. And when you get a headbutt, you never flinch. So the coach is flinching. The player, look, he got his wide open. That's a good old headbutt. Lucky Parcells doesn't have to play.
1st and 10 at the 31. Rippon gives to Biner. And Biner gets out to the 37. A flag on the play. He's tackled by Ken Norton.
That's in the area where it's offensive holding. The umpire threw that right at the offensive line. And then called it on the defense. So threw it right at the defensive line too, I guess.
Got a big illegal slap to the head or something like that. Holding.
Number 73 defense. First down.
On Danny Noonan. First down, Washington.
Noonan's been in there in a battle all day. He's going against Raleigh McKenzie.
Sanders started to come out and limp back into the huddle.
Yeah, Sanders has been limping out of the huddle on and off the field for most of this game.
Less than 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. 17-17 tie. To Monk. Wrestled down by Manny Hendricks. 9-yard gain.
Isn't it always amazing, Pat, when you look at Art Monk to realize that he's been around 11 years and all the games he's played and passes he caught, and he just doesn't look like he ages at all. You know, at some point you think, well, when's his speed going to go? When's he going to start losing some of those things? And I haven't seen it.
I haven't either. The handoff is to Biner. He'll get a Redskin first down. Picked up 7.
I said earlier that the Redskins were going outside too much in their running game or bouncing outside because the Cowboys defense had done a great job of skating the line of scrimmage. That time Biner did get it outside successfully.
Just over a minute left in the 3rd quarter.
Cowboys sideline, the offensive lineman looking at those Polaroid shots.
Fake is to Biner. Rippon has the ball caught by Monk right off the ground. He just scooped it.
That was a heck of a catch. I mean, we've seen some great throws and some great catches today. You know, you look at that. In fact, it looked like Monk gave up on it. I don't know. It also looked like it touched the ground. That official's right there. He called it. I don't know that they won't review that one. Yep, they're going to.
Yep.
And Monk knew it. He was trying to get up there and get that ball snapped. Number 79 of the officials there is Aaron Pointer, the brother of the Pointer sisters. What do you have to say? The ball hit the ground? He had his both hands on it, though, too. The guy that they're communicating to is the umpire right there. That's Ron Botchin. Jerry Seaman, a referee.
After further review of instant replay, we have a reversal. Incomplete pass.
Let's watch this one on the clicker here, and we'll see it when the ball comes. You know, at what point did it hit the ground? I guess it did.
brings up 2nd and 10 with the ball at the Dallas 41. 17-17 tie, 36 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Rippon for Clark. Going to be picked off by James Washington. Cowboys had a blitz going with one of their defensive backs, Ron Francis.
Well, we're going to see here, we're going to see the thing. It ends up in a double team down at this end. We let it go. I think Ricky Sanders was open in the middle. Let's see, we'll see. If we could stop it right here, we'll see. Here's the double on Clark. This is where I thought he should have gone because it looked like he could have hit Sanders in there. But he just threw that one. He threw it over. Clark had no chance for it. That was thrown into double coverage. An interception by James Washington.
It'll be 1st down, Cowboys at their own 5.
Mark Rippon didn't read that coverage very well.
Smith to about the 9. Wilbur Marshall tripped him up just shy of the 10.
I like this Emmitt Smith. You know, he came to camp late and was a, #1 draft choice and a whole lot. Really didn't have the training camp and get to know the offense, but I think the Cowboys got something here in this guy.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Washington 17, Dallas 17. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You are watching the NFL on CBS.
I'm Jim Jeffco of the Dallas Cowboys. I hope you're enjoying the game and have a happy Thanksgiving.
And we add our wishes to those of Jim Jeffcoat. 2nd and 5 on the 10. Aikman to Emmitt Smith. Stopped by Alvin Walton after a gain of 1.
It seemed like the Cowboys in this 2nd half really haven't had much good field position. I mean, this is the 2nd time they've had to come off that goal line. And they get field position, then they look like they have a lot of confidence. But coming off here, this is really a tough spot because any mistake means a score for the other team.
That's what happened to him before when the screen pass was intercepted. I don't think we'll see that again.
No, I think that screen pass is probably put in the sack.
Aikman to throw it. Got the 1st down to Kelvin Martin. Pickup of 10 Bowles and Mayhew.
Boy, did Minuski hit. Watch this, Pat. You talk about a blitz. He comes here free. He puts a hit on Aikman just as he throws the ball. Watch this. No one blocks Minuski. Watch him. He comes straight up the middle. Doink. Right there. That is a heck of a throw when you have a guy making a hit on you like this. Look at Minuski, 91 coming. He puts his helmet right in Aikman's helmet, and he still not only gets it away, but completes it. That is a tough act.
On 1st down. Aikman fakes. Chased by Marcus Cook and just threw it away. Flag on the play.
I don't know if they're going to call. Yeah, they called just what you called, Pat. You said he threw it away. Jerry Seaman was there and said you can't throw it away. Now, a quarterback can throw it away or down to stop the clock. He can't throw it away to avoid a sack.
So they'll back up and have to do it again.
Intentional grounding, number 8 offense, once a down offense, 2nd down.
I think Aikman is saying that he was throwing it to someone. Jerry Seaman had to say that he was throwing it away to avoid the sack.
That cost him 13 yards, 2nd and 23. What breathing room they had disappeared. gets it up and complete to Kelvin Martin. Stopped by Martin Mayhew. Got some of it back, 12 of them.
Yeah, you wonder if he got his bearings back. Remember, 2 plays ago, Minuski hit him just as he threw it. And you wonder if he had his bearings, because sometimes those guys are still a little foggy on that next play. But that third one there, he looked okay. I'm not sure about the second one.
3rd and 11. 17-17 tie. Darrell Johnston is the man in the backfield. Novacek is the man in motion. Redskins again put the heat. Novacek made the catch. 15-yard gain, a Dallas first down.
Hey, look at this. Novacek is running what you call an out and up. He goes out, then he goes up. But that time, pretty good protection for Aikman. But I'll tell you, this is a tough guy, this Aikman, standing in there and making throws like he is throwing here. Watch this here. This is pretty good protection, but they're still getting a push on him. I mean, to be able to throw the ball like that with a push like that takes a very talented guy.
Smith gets the carry. No, he doesn't. Aikman keeps it and rolls left by himself. Fake to Smith. Aikman gets 5 yards. Stopped by Mayhew again.
I think Aikman is still arguing about that thing where Jerry Seaman said he threw the ball away, but that's called a naked bootleg. In other words, you fake the handoff and you run out there, and it's called naked because you don't have any blockers. You don't have anything. You're just stripped of everything.
Jeff Zimmerman has replaced Crawford Kerr at left guard. They list him at 322. But everybody just laughs when you say that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he has his own zip code, this guy.
Pitch back to Smith. Nothing doing. Gouveia stopped him after a yard gain.
I mean, there's big Zimmerman there. I mean, and he gets bigger as he goes down. I mean, you start up there, and that he's wearing a flak jacket there, and then you know, as it goes down, it just keeps getting bigger. I bet he's 335, 340, 350, whatever.
It's a full package.
How'd you like to be a turkey and just hanging around and knowing he's coming home after the game?
3rd and 4. Turkey got no chance. The Redskins blitz him. Got Novacek. Novacek spun down by Monty Coleman. Inside the 20, a gain of 40.
He's finally finding Novacek now, but I'll say, so many of these passes have just been Troy Aikman. Here, look, he pumps, he looks, he runs, he finds, he throws, he hits, he does all these things. This guy in the second half, Troy Aikman, is putting on an amazing effort. An amazing show because he's only playing with half a deck.
Novacek's 4th catch for a total of 88 yards. 1st and 10, Dallas. At the Washington 18. Aikman has to call a timeout. 9:59 left to play. A 17-17 tie. But Dallas moving closer to the lead.
By 505, 506, and 540 G's.
Washington not able to run. Dallas has got over 100 yards. Emmitt Smith, 16 carries, 69 yards, 1 touchdown. A block punt led to the first Dallas touchdown. Turnovers 2-1. 2 interceptions by Aikman, 1 by Rippon. 1st and 10, Dallas at the Washington 18. Smith knocked forward for a couple. by Minuski and Marcus Cook.
I think these are names you're going to hear a long time on this Dallas side. One is Jimmy Johnson, the head coach. I think he got a full-time deal. I think this guy here, Emmitt Smith, going to hear a lot with the Dallas Cowboys, and of course Troy Aikman. I think that next level of great quarterbacks, when you say that Montana is the quarterback of the 80s, who's going to be the quarterback of the 90s? This guy here, when they get this whole team together, he's going to be one of them.
A.G. and Johnston, the two runners this time. Headed to the corner. Incomplete. Intended for Novacek. Mayhew right with him.
See, Novacek is a tight end, but he's more of a receiver than a blocker, and they put him all over. This time, he was lined up outside as a wide receiver. That was a perfect pass. That was right in there, but Mayhew knocks it loose. You see the ball is in there, but when he gets that left hand in there, that just shakes it out of there. But it was still a heck of a throw by Aikman.
Third down and 10 at the 18. Goes Aikman. Man and 2 or 3 other Redskins knocked down Troy Aikman.
And that's the end of the offense for Jimmy Johnson, so he takes off that headset, gets ready for the defensive headset, and ready for his rookie kicker.
Ken Willis, who's been very steady. He's another guy that's going to be around here a long time. 41 yards away is Willis. Novacek is the holder. Dallas has the lead again. 20-17 with 8:44 left.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Canon, a world leader in cameras and business equipment. Cotton Incorporated, for America's cotton growers. Cotton, the fabric of our lives. And by Magnavox, smart choices for smart people. Magnavox, smart, very smart.
The Cowboys and the Redskins are enjoying Thanksgiving.
I guess this is what you call a rivalry game.
I guess. Brian Mitchell. Get out of bounds by Dixon. No, I beg your pardon. Robert Williams.
Yeah, we were talking about Dallas not having good field position. You can just look at, their starts here. Their average start is on their own 14-yard line. They've had 11 possessions, and the average start on the 14-yard line. And again, that's what I think Troy Aikman has done such a great job with poor field position.
Redskins 1st and 10 at their own 31. Griffin going deep for Clark. Incomplete. Covered by Manny Hendricks. Jeffcoat put a little heat on Rippon.
And you see it out there, that again, Manny Hendricks was just running stride for stride with Gary Clark. You see it, he looks in towards the receiver, and as Clark's hands goes up, Hendricks' hands go up. That's the thing that you wait for. You don't have to put your hands up until the other guy's hands go up. And Hendricks timed it perfectly.
2nd and 10. Pass to Sanders is complete. But Hendricks stops him after a gain of 5.
He was right there. They know that if you're going to go to one corner, you go to Hendricks' side, because people tend to stay away from Isaac Holt on the other side. Because Holt is one of those guys who will get interceptions off you. So if you're going to work on one side or the other, you usually go away from this guy.
3rd and 5. Kelvin Bryant in the backfield. Rippon. Pass complete to Bryant.
Now it's funny they got a corner. Kenneth Gant, number 29, who was covering Kelvin Bryant as a corner. I think that's the respect that they have for Kelvin Bryant.
Kelvin got enough for a first down. First and 10.
You know you're not going to cover Kelvin Bryant with a linebacker. Most people try safeties, and the Cowboys went to a backup corner. They had everything but the ball.
7:40 left to play. And the Cowboys 20, Washington 17. Reverse fake. Batted away by Stubbs.
There's the guy that's enjoying playing. Daniel Stubbs again. You're not going to get outside. See, Rippon's going to come this side. Stubbs comes up here, keeps his containment. That's a big thing when you got a running quarterback. See the bootleg? Now watch Stubbs up there. He doesn't come in. He keeps the containment and then bats it back at Rippon with his face mask.
Second and 10. Rippon with time, gets it to Clark. Clark is down by Ron Francis. 3-yard gain is all.
That's exactly what the Cowboys wanted to do, was let him catch him in front of him and tackle him. This is the other thing they wanted to do. Look what they've done to Mark Rippon here. 2 sacks, hurried him 13 times, knocked him down 10 times, batted balls twice, and then again the interception.
Three-man rush this time by the Cowboys. The pass incomplete. Sanders had it, juggled it on the ground, and it's incomplete.
That is defensive convergence. You go and you play and you read the quarterback, and when the ball is thrown, you converge on the ball. That was 3 Cowboys in convergence.
Derek Shepard back deep for Dallas. Oshinko to punt it. At about the 14-yard line. Staggers around to about the 22, and Dallas will take over after a 40-yard punt. They lead by 3.
Sponsored by the U.S. Army. They called Roger Staubach Captain Comeback and Drew Pearson Mr. Clutch. With this prolific pair, the Cowboys were never out of a game. Staubach led Dallas to 23 successful fourth-quarter comebacks. And when he put up a prayer, Pearson was usually there to answer it. As individuals, Staubach and Pearson combined on the Hail Mary pass. Together as teammates, they made the Cowboys the best they can be.
Hi, I'm Nate Newton of the Dallas Cowboys, better known as The Kitchen. After this great traditional game, I'm going home to my real kitchen and having a big turkey. And I want to wish y'all a happy Thanksgiving.
Big Nate's had a good day.
Yeah, he has. He drew Charles Mann, who was the best of the Redskin defensive linemen, and he's done a good job against them.
First and 10, Dallas. Their own 22. Aikman will throw on first down. Maybe. Gets it out to Kelvin Martin.
One thing they're going to do as we watch Nate Newton here go against Charles Mann, Nate Newton is going to have help on the blocking. Now this is, see, he knows that he's going to get it back in there. There's Emmett Smith. And Emmett Smith, they just sandwich him in. You see the two big old guys, big old Charles Mann, big old Nate Newton, they sandwich poor little Emmett Smith in between them. He's a sacrificial lamb.
2nd and 4. That's Emmett Smith behind the line by Wilbur Marshall and Charles Mann. A loss of 1, less than 6 minutes left.
Of course, the one thing that Nate Newton says he wants to run at him. Here you can see John Giesick this time blocking out on him, Newton blocking out, and they're going to run inside. They get the onside block pretty well, but they don't get the offside block, and in comes Wilbur Marshall from that backside.
Makes it 3rd and 4.
Wilbur came in, he looked like he was shot out of a gun. That reminded me of a Lawrence Taylor type move.
Darrell Johnston, the lone runner. Here comes the blitz. Flag on the play on the far side of the field. Awalt caught the pass. Darrell Green says it's against them.
He's saying it's either against Awalt or them, but Awalt said it's against them. But I'll tell you, Troy Aikman made a heck of a pass.
Number 28 defense. Penalty decline. 1st down.
Well, that's going to be out there right here. Darrell Green, number 28, going against Michael Irvin. See, and they say he grabbed him. He grabbed him about 3 times. Yeah. I mean, he's been grabbing that 8. He was taking a check on that 8, but Aikman made a heck of a throw on that thing, getting out of the way. I mean, there was a rusher coming through, and Aikman just played right off him to get the ball out there.
1st down, Cowboys, as they move out to the 38-yard line with 4:45 left to play. To Emmett Smith. Nothing there. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Dallas Cowboys, and the National Football League is prohibited. It'll be 2nd and 9.
That's a frustrating thing. These Redskin linemen there, you're down 20-17, and the other team has the ball, and you just can't wait to get back in there to score. And of course, the Cowboys, they know with 4 minutes and 17 seconds are within that 5 minutes, so it's going to be longer, but they just want to keep the ball away and keep moving it.
They just got the ball snapped. Another 1st down, Dallas. That's Kelvin Martin again. Martin Mayhew wrestled him down. 13-yard pickup.
Hey, and this again is Aikman here. He really got this one in here because that was good coverage. Mayhew didn't give him any room at all, but watch him zip that thing in there. I'll tell you, that had to be that tight or that wouldn't have been a completion. Good a coverage as you can get and still have something completed on you by Martin Mayhew.
Martin now has 7 catches for 70 yards, and the Cowboys have been able to get the ball to their wide receivers to a much greater degree today. Aikman, Smith could be gone, chased by Darrell Green. Still on his feet. Emmett Smith, touchdown. Cowboys 27, Redskins 17, 3:10 left.
What is the image of a rebel?
Hi, I'm Donnie Warren of the Washington Redskins, and this is my wife Irene, and these are our sons, Brett, Blake, and Bo. And this, of course, is Dasha. She's really excited right now. From us to all of you, a very happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving!
There's Donnie Warren, excellent Redskin tight end. Howard and Mitchell back deep. Brian Mitchell drops it up to 3 and then gathers it together. Done a good job returning kicks today. Stopped by Ron Francis.
Great run by Emmitt Smith, but let's watch some of the blocking on it too. Watch John Giesick here. He's going to come in on a double team, then he's going to come up and get one here and then another one here. He ends up getting 3 blocks as Smith comes through there. Just watch the right guard. There's one double team. Boom, he picks off Bowles right there. Boom, he picks off Walton right there. And then the run. And Darrell Green misses the tackle right there. That is not like Darrell Green.
Emmitt Smith, 20 carries, 118 yards, is ripped and back to throw to Monk. Hit down by James Washington. 47 games ago, 47 was the last time Dallas won 2 games in a row. Ripping back to throw it. Gets it to Kelvin Bryant, out of bounds at about the 48-yard line by Francis.
You know what everyone's saying now is, you know, the prevent defense, don't loosen up too much. I know they're saying, Jimmy, what are you doing this for? Why are you making it so easy when you get ahead? Well, you're using your defense and the time and the score. See, the Redskins need 2 scores, so it's tough. You want to be a little soft so they don't get a quick, easy one, but you can't be too soft.
2nd and 7. Sanders, the move man. Ripping. Incomplete in the direction of Clark. Washington would have been out of bounds even if he caught it.
See, watch number 84. Gary Clark has gone out of bounds. See, when he goes out of bounds right there, now he can't come in and catch the ball again anyway. But he could have kept going. See, the official threw his hat off. See, he has no hat on his head. When he goes out, he throws his hat down. But Clark could have come back in and should have come back in to not let an interception occur.
3rd down and 7. 3-man rush. Somebody move.
Old Danny Noonan got that thing going back like an avalanche, didn't he?
False start, going backwards on the center.
Against the Redskins.
They say it's on the center, but the minute Danny Noonan saw it, he just started pushing, and that whole Redskin middle started going backwards.
The coordinating producers of the NFL on CBS, Charles H. Milton III and Ed Gorin. This game produced by Bob Stenner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The NFL Today produced by Eric Mann, directed by Duke Struck. 3rd down and 12. Redskins. Rippin, pass batted away. Ray Horton.
Cowboys now are just playing that zone. They're playing it a little tighter, but they're doing a real good job of converging on the ball. See, Horton goes in front, someone comes behind. They got everything surrounded. Of course, this is 4th down, and the Redskins have to go for it because they need 2.
4th and 12. 2:22 left to play. Texas Stadium is rocking. The ball batted away by Noonan. Incomplete. Dallas will take over. The senior producer of the NFL on CBS, David Winter, the executive producer, Ted Shaker, and a special Thanksgiving greeting to our cameraman, George Graffio, who is on IR. Happy Thanksgiving to George.
And watch this. We'll see Noonan on the line of scrimmage just jump up, bat it down with his left hand. But I'll tell you, that play and this game and this play today has brought the excitement back to this stadium that I haven't seen in a while. This place is
a long time.
Things have come alive.
Hand off to Emmett Smith to the 45. He picked up 2, and here's the way it looks now in the NFC East.
Well, I'll tell you, Washington is still in this wild card thing strongly, but Dallas really isn't out of it. You think at 5-7, they're not out of this thing. And of course, Philadelphia has that big game this week with the Giants. And then, they would like to make something on the Giants, but I think that they have to think of being the best wild card team.
Well, you think about the Cowboys and their playoff possibilities. They, of course, get 10 days to rest. Then they play a game, and then they get their bye the week after that.
Yeah, so if they have any injured players or they're beat up, they're going to get that, or they're going to be able to come back. And here comes a happy, happy man, the owner of the Cowboys, Jerry Jones. I'll tell you, when he took over, it was a tough situation. And
how about those Cowboys?
He went through a lot of things. He's a very positive guy, isn't he?
He is a real promoter, motivator, and very shrewd. 2nd and 8. Emmett Smith lost the ball. He got 11 yards.
I think that turkey leg, Pat, for the player of the game, I think we got to go down there and whack off 2 legs because I see 2 players of the game here today. I mean, I don't think you could not give it to Troy Aikman, nor do I think you could not give it to this guy, Emmett Smith, because he has really played hard.
2 minutes remain. The Cowboys 27, the Redskins 17. Decided to give 2 turkey legs?
Yep, I think so. We got that turkey. It's on the bus, and it's going to go to San Francisco, and this guy has to get it. Troy Aikman, the job that he's done today, the way he's hung in there, the way he's thrown the ball, this is an amazing effort. The numbers 20, 31, 1 touchdown, but he made some throws today that a lot of guys couldn't make, and this guy has to get one. Emmett Smith, look, 22 rushes, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Quick, did everything. I got to give 2 turkey legs out today, Pat. Both the legs go to the players.
Aikman is 20 out of 31. And you saw the book on Emmett Smith.
This Dallas Cowboy team came out here fired up today, and they just outquicked the Redskins early. The Redskins came back and made a little run at it, but then the Cowboys come back and got them again.
This is a Redskin timeout.
There hasn't been a lot of that when you see Jimmy Johnson talking on the sideline with a smile on his face. And over the years, you haven't seen this much gloom on a Redskins sideline either, because I think when you talk about coaches and coaching staffs, and there's no one that does a better job than this group led by Joe Gibbs. I think he's had a tough time with injuries and so on, but this is an outstanding coach.
Well, they got 10 players hurt in that Eagle game on Monday night. And they played last Sunday, of course, and then again today. That's a lot to ask.
And like we said earlier, there's some reason they've always had trouble with the Cowboys. I mean, there's some teams that just match up well against you. The Cowboys are that team. Whoa, avalanche. Where'd that truck come from? Get a license.
Marshall.
Wilbur says, I ain't taking this sitting down. Said it ain't over till it's over. We're still playing football. Cowboys were trying to go to the kneel down. The other guys wanted to play. There's some bite in that dog.
Coming up tonight on CBS, Primetime Pets at 8 8 o'clock Eastern Time, followed by The Flash, then Doctor, and then Face to Face with Connie Chung. That's tonight on CBS. And of course on Sunday, don't forget that big match between the Giants and the Eagles, plus other regional action. Check your local listings.
I'm really impressed with this guy, Emmitt Smith.
Oh boy, you have to be.
I think once you get him and they get a better offensive line, and they're going to improve that in the coming years, and that quarterback and Michael Irvin out there. I mean, they're starting to put together some things that are going to be an exciting offensive team when they all get it together.
Well, they used to talk about them being a finesse team, but this is not going to be a finesse team. It's not today.
There's old Nate Newton. He's still going against Charles Mann. In fact, if that turkey had a third leg on it, I'd give one to old Nate Newton, too. They only got 2. They ought to put 3. I'd have something left I could cut off. Old Nate Newton fired out, and he just took Charles Mann back.
I should have gotten you 2 turkeys.
Yeah. Thank you for the turkey. I think old Nate Newton's on the way to the kitchen right now. He wanted one more shot at him before he went to the kitchen.
A minute 15 left to play.
I think Nate says, I wasn't going to take any of that stuff they did on second down. He's still fired up. He's a turkey leg runner-up.
Must be another part of the turkey we could give him.
I was just thinking of that. They ought to cut out, probably with Nate Newton, you'd need the whole rest of the turkey, but we got to have something. But you cut the leg, then those things that are on the back. What are those, like the wings? He's played pretty well.
The wings are not on the back.
On the side there, you know that thing that you go down from the legs or up from the legs. Maybe we just give Nate all the stuffing.
Saxon's punt's going to go into the end zone, and Mitchell won't bring it out. 56 seconds remaining. Redskins out of timeouts.
Troy Aikman talking to his center, Mark Stepnowski, did a good job today. I think Nate Newton got a headache. All that talk about turkey and kitchen and wings and stuff like that.
You got to geek out.
So you got to geek him today.
Rippon gets it up to Kelvin Bryant, brought down by Bates. Gain of 12. Clock running with 42 seconds left to play. Dallas leading by 10 points. Almost picked off by Isaac Holt. He will gamble.
That's the one that they've been waiting for all day. He says we see these names go by and you realize all these people that have been here with us and we've appreciated over the years and lent so much to this game, and and they're also away on Thanksgiving, and just this time to say thank you to all of them, because we talk about pros in the field. These guys that work here with us are real pros too.
We wouldn't be here if they weren't.
Sure appreciate it.
There's Rippon. Gary Clark, the intended receiver, incomplete. Stops the clock with 28 seconds left. They finally did sell out for this match between the Redskins and the Cowboys. Jerry Jones very happy about that. They didn't sell out soon enough.
I don't know that there's anyone happier. I'm sure there are some coaches, some players, Troy Aikman, Jimmy Johnson, the coach, that's happy, but I don't know that there's anyone any happier right now than Jerry Jones.
Over 60,000 here. They didn't sell out soon enough to lift the blackout locally, but they did finally sell it out. Out of bounds is Monk. Picked up 10, 22 seconds left. First down, Washington.
I think when you think of the draft choices that the Cowboys have, getting 3 first-round picks and all that stuff they got for Herschel Walker, I think that, you know, next year they're really going to be ready to make a move on something, and the year after that probably would be back where they used to be.
Rippon going for a group of receivers. Batted down. Isaac Holt.
Well, I'll tell you, there's nothing that can spoil a Thanksgiving more, though, than being on the other side, Pat, when you're the visiting team and you got to travel back and you've had that short week and then you lose and someone says Happy Thanksgiving. It doesn't make a lot of sense. On this side, it does. Jerry Jones looks like he's coaching down there.
Yeah.
They're talking to Ken Norton. Keep your right up. Redskins just never got their running game going today. They had 55 passing plays and only 15 runs.
That's Donnie Warren. Dives out of bounds. Kenneth Gant tackled him after a gain of 17. 4 seconds left now. Cowboys up by 10 points. This should be it. Incomplete. Final score, 27-17. John Madden then. This is Pat Summerall saying so long from Texas Stadium, where the final score was Dallas 27, Washington 17. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Engineered by the Eagles' Randall Cunningham. But the Birds were buffaloed by the Bills, who also loved the aerial route. In Washington, the Skins were on the warpath, taking dead aim at the Dolphins. It was an odd week, so the Bengals remembered to show their stripes. Not Tigers, but Lions and Bears. Oh my, for 5 quarters. 5 straight 300-yard passing games as Warren tries again to run and shoot for the moon. Raiders try to be sky high and mile high. Welcome to my nightmare. Prime time is here. And we're here to tell you about it here on NFL Primetime. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman, and what a ball game they had between the Eagles and the Buffalo Bills. We can't wait to show you that. We can't wait to tell you what happened in Week 13. To help us tell you all, Tom Jackson, Pete Axthelm, and Robin Roberts back for a couple weeks. First, though, let's get you updated on the late games around the NFL. The Raiders and the Broncos. Very cold day at Mile High Stadium. The Broncos driving, 33 seconds to go. They're trailing the Raiders 23-20. We'll keep you updated on that game, show you highlights a little bit later on. The Houston Oilers are kicking off in overtime to the Seattle Seahawks to start that 5th stanza. They are tied at 10-10 in the Kingdom. Phoenix Cardinals spotted the Colts, a big lead, came back to beat them in the land of the sun, 20-17. San Diego Chargers rolled up on the Jets for the second time this season, 38-17. And the Dallas Cowboys are in the hunt. They spotted the Saints a lead and came from behind to win at 17-13. Troy Aikman, 11 straight completions at one point in the second half. Speaking of teams in the hunt, the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. A month ago, the game looked like a dud. But tonight, the Packers go into it having won 3 straight. The Vikings at home have won 4 in a row. That's our game tonight at the top of the hour. Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann on hand to get us started. Gentlemen.
Thanks very much, Chris. The Metrodome will be rocking tonight. In less than an hour, we'll have a game for you with major wild card implications. The Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick. Thanks for joining us. The Minnesota Vikings are certainly one of the most talented teams in the National Football League, but they got off to a horrible start. After going 1-1, they lost 5 straight games in what quickly became a comedy of errors. Might be funny to look at it that way, but it wasn't funny for these guys when it was happening. Of course, what really led to the 0-5 streak, the fact that Wade Wilson and Keith Millard were both injured. Those are critical players for this team.
They really are. When you consider the fact that Wade Wilson started the season throwing 7 touchdown passes, only 3 interceptions, you know their offense suffered when he went out. Of course, Keith Millard was the Defensive Player of the Year last year. Not only a great football player, but a great inspirational leader. Joey Browner's had a consistent year. Now he's playing up to the level that he sets the standards for himself. Of course, Mike Merriweather, I think, has been the guy who's really been the leader on defense. He's playing the all-pro kind of defense that they expected him to play and to start to shoulder a lot of the load.
Both of these teams expected terrific years out of their starting quarterback. As it turns out, both are injured, and tonight, in a battle for a wild-card playoff spot that they're both still alive for, they have to go for backups.
Not only that, you're talking about a battle of the backups, Mike. You've got, for example, Richie Gannon, who's played 8 games. This will be his 9th. The first 4 were horrible, threw 10 interceptions. The last 4, he's only thrown 2 interceptions. He not only gained back his own confidence, but the confidence of the football team. Anthony Dilwig, on the other hand, has really started this thing from the beginning. With Magic holding out all through preseason, he's had a chance to show his wares. Very smart football player, very intelligent football player. He'll utilize the short passing game that he really fits into quite well. So both quarterbacks have a lot at stake, not only for their teams, but for their jobs.
All right, Chris, we really expect a good one from the Metrodome here tonight. 8 o'clock Eastern coming your way. Hope you'll be with us. Let's go back to you.
Of course we'll be with you, Mike and Joe. We look forward to that ball game as if the players were to start, the Packers would be in them going into that ball game tonight. We've got to show you overtime between 2 of the oldest franchises in the National Football League, the Lions and the Bears. What a way to get started as we take a trip around Week 13. Stay with us here on NFL Primetime.
Tonight's analysis is brought to you by Acura Automobiles. Experience precision-crafted performance. NFL Primetime is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. By Subaru, we built our reputation by building a better car. By GE Spacemaker radios and TVs to make your kitchen a nicer place to be. And by Cooper Tools, manufacturer of the new Lufkin Series 2000, the most advanced measuring tape on the market.
Welcome back to Primetime. We'd like to welcome all of you that have just watched the Raiders hold on to defeat the Denver Broncos 23-20 at Mile High Stadium. David Treadwell of the Broncos missed a chip shot with just seconds to go, and so the Raiders have swept the Broncos this season, and the Broncos losing streak now at 5. And we'll have highlights of that a little bit later on. Let's begin our tour around the NFL with the Lions and the Bears, who are the oldest franchise in the league. Would it be a change of fortunes? Last week, the Bears had a big loss. Were they vulnerable? Last week, actually 10 days ago on Thanksgiving, the Lions had a big win. Were they getting set to make that December run as they did a year ago? Such a tough question, we had to go to an extra quarter to answer it. A beautiful day at Soldier Field if you're a polar bear. Cold, windy, a little canoe on Lake Michigan, of course, and a block of balloon bigger.
The football is always the same in the NFC Central. Nico Noga drills Johnny Bailey, separates him from the ball, and here Rodney Peete trying to get out of bounds, and he takes the big hit by Ron Rivera. NFC football at its best.
Like Rodney replaced his contacts in the third quarter, he was replaced at quarterback by Bob Galliano, who hits ex-Niner Terry Greer. Then 8 yards to Richard Johnson. Galliano moves this football team. We've noticed it every time he's in. 3rd and 2, the play action, the 22-yard toss to Richard Johnson. And the Lions are thinking about an upset at Soldier Field for the second straight year. 17-14, Wayne Fonts said, good move putting in Galliano. More payoff for the Lions with a 3-point lead. Galliano the dump to Barry Sanders. And look at him work. Look at him just change directions. This play, a pickup of 30 yards, gets the Lions out of the shadow of their own goalpost. More time off the clock. Galliano runs down. Singletary doesn't really make the slide. Singletary hits him. Galliano is okay after about a minute breather. Under 3 minutes to go, the big mistake. Ron Rivera with the interception, and the Bears down 3 are looking for a win or maybe a tie. Jim Harbaugh brings it back. Here he goes out of the backfield in the conservatory with the lead pipe. It's Brad Colonel Muster for 17 yards. Then Harbaugh, you know he can run it, keeps it himself. Look at Chris Spielman. Inbounds, but kind of a shaky call. They add a late hit, and that really helped the Bears go to the wire. In overtime, the Lions stopped them deep. They kicked a short field goal. Mike Ditka wins the toss, elected to kick to the wind. And so the Lions, with the first possession, have a shot at a field goal, but no, Eddie was not Murray. No good, a 35-yarder. Then, 4 minutes to go in the OT. Harbaugh, Neil Anderson, it's done. It's a done deal. The Bears hold off the Lions in OT. There's Harbaugh throwing 39 times, uncharacteristic for the Bears. Wayne Fonts wears his emotions on his face. So does Mike Ditka, really. A very good game, but the Bears, as they've done so many times, come out on top by the count of 23-17. And Tommy, the Chicago offense, now they threw a lot more than usual, but still, wouldn't you call it a safe one?
Well, I think that whole offense is safe. It's a good game plan by Mike Ditka. I don't think that he has ultimate confidence in Harbaugh. They win with the running game and defense, so he nickels and dimes the Lions all day. But when they have the opportunity in the overtime and they saw a pattern come open that they like, he allows him to throw the ball. And the numbers, 39 tosses, you know, maybe he's gaining that confidence in Harbaugh as the season goes on.
Well, we all know that Ditka doesn't have tremendous confidence in the whole club. He's been saying that this club isn't quite as good as its record, to say the least. And I think he's right. But there's something else working here. Call it character. Whether it comes from coaching, whether it comes from the tradition of the Chicago Bears, these guys seem to win the close ones, and they've been doing it all year. I think they're going to keep it up.
And even though they threw more today, they're still the only team in the NFL that has run for more yards than they have passed. It doesn't hurt to have Neil Anderson sneak out of the backfield as a receiver either. So the Bears, as they did 10 years ago in overtime on Thanksgiving, remember that when Dave Williams returned the kickoff for a touchdown? Some of us do. They beat the Lions again in OT. Now, the Lions won the coin toss today. Only the second time they've won a coin toss and lost the game. When they lose a coin toss, it's 0-6. But the key here, they lost the overtime coin toss. They lost the game. You can tell early with Detroit. Big song about 25, 27 years ago, Lou Christie, lightning striking again. Last Sunday night on ESPN, you saw the Chargers fumble in overtime. Seattle got it, won it in overtime. Same thing happened for the Seahawks. The Oilers fumbled the ball their first possession in overtime. Seattle turned it into a Norm Johnson field goal, 42 yards, and the Seahawks stunned Houston 13-10. Now everything is over. Thanks for joining us. We'll show you highlights of that a little bit later on. Let's go back early and let's go east, Robin, as the Los Angeles Rams, coming off their big win of the 49ers, they know that one more loss and any playoff hopes, they're out of there. So they couldn't afford to look past the lowly Browns today.
No, they couldn't. You really thought this game was going to mean something when you saw it at the beginning of the year, the Rams and the Browns, but it really did mean something for the Rams. But you couldn't help but wonder if they would be kind of flat after their upset win over the Niners last week. But then again, they were facing the Browns in Cleveland, and the Browns have lost a club record 5 straight at home and 6 straight overall. Last week, Jim Schaffner said he thought his Browns wouldn't lose another game all year. Right. Browns showed signs of a 2-9 team. Brian Brennan muffs the punt. It's recovered by Pat Terrell, and the Rams get it again. But John Robinson's team at 4-7 hasn't exactly been so great either. 3 plays later, after Brennan's muff, Cleveland Gary fumbles. The 9th time he's done that this year, and the Browns' David Grayson recovers. In the second quarter, Rams at the Browns' 2-yard line. Gary is stopped short of the goal line by Mike Johnson. Rams only 2 of 9 on 4th down conversions, but 4th and goal, they go for it. Jim Everett, the play-action fake, hits Pete Holohan in the end zone. Rams take a 10-3 lead on the Rams' next possession. Everett again finds Gaston Green. He sprints down the right sideline, 16 yards for the score. It's 17-3 Rams. More the same in the second half. Everett hits Henry Ellard over the middle for Ellard's 400th career reception, TJ.
Here, Henry Ellert cuts inside of Raymond Claiborne, makes a good break toward the ball. Knows how to get that head down right after he makes that catch. And Claiborne had a pull groin. We should say that here Ellert makes a catch to become the Rams' all-time leading receiver. He's an outstanding receiver for a long time.
Surpassing Tom Fears. More of the same for the Rams. Everett finds Robert Delpino for a 21-yard scoring play, and then Everett again to Buford McGee. A 9-yard scoring play, 38-17 Rams. They scored on their first 3 second-half possessions. Everett, 22 of 29 for 261 yards, 4 touchdown passes. He hadn't tossed a touchdown pass in his last 3 games. So bad that Browns owner Art Modell couldn't bear to watch as the Rams pull out the victory, 38-23. The Browns have now given up 338 points this season, their most since 1983. Will the Falcons be able to snap their 16-game road losing streak? The 6-game losing streak brought out the bagheads in Tampa. Falcons awesome on the ground, led by Mike Rozier with some tough running. Falcons gained 222 yards on 43 carries. Into the first quarter, Falcons score on the ground. A 4-yard run by the outstretched Tracy Johnson made it 7-0 Falcons. First-round pick Keith McCants made his first NFL start. It was kind of rough for him, TJ.
Offensive line of the Falcons welcoming him to the NFL. Here they blow him off the ball about 5 yards, and for Keith it would be that way all day.
Second quarter, Falcons up 7-zip, but Vinny Testaverde finds the streaking Willie Drury. He's going to take off 89 yards for the score. It's a 7-all ball game. Chris Miller having his problems. First, Ricky Reynolds picks Miller off. Then Rodney Rice does the same after the deflection. Both led to Buck field goals, 13-7 at the half. Buck fans, good reason to smile. Third quarter, things got worse for Miller. He scrambles out of the end zone, tackled by the rookie McCants, fracturing his right collarbone. Miller was 4 for 13 at that point, 3 interceptions, only 66 yards. He is gone for the season, though. Jerry Glanville's Graceland Watch said it was time to run again. Mike Rozier, 9-yard run. Rozier again. This time he's going to bull his way into the end zone, put the Falcons on top 14-13. Rozier, 23 carries, 115 yards, and 1 score. It's 17-16 Falcons, less than a minute to go. Ray Perkins telling Vinny what to do, and Vinny responds, going 35 yards to Mark Carrier for the score. 23-17 Bucks. Vinny 17 of 33 for 351 yards, only 1 interception. Jerry Glanville not a happy camper. The Falcons lose their 17th on the road by a final of 23-17. The Bucks snap their 6-game losing streak and move to 5-8. Falcons have lost 5 straight, their last 17 away from Fulton County Stadium. They're now 3-9, and with Miller out, it's going to be tough for them. He's going to be gone for the year, won't be able to throw a ball for 4 or 5 months. Scott Campbell inherits the job, and he's a pretty good backup.
Bob Berry or somebody maybe they should look for, the original general, Bob Lee. But Falcons are going to have a tough time winning at home now, but we know they have real trouble on the road because with that loss today at Tampa Bay, the Falcons' dubious road losing streak is now the 4th longest in the history of the NFL. But don't worry, they've got 6 to go before they tie the 81-84 Houston Oilers and the mid-80 Buffalo Bills. They've got 5 to go to tie them, but this list, not good to be on. We'll be back. For the hour, the rejuvenated Herschel Walker and the Minnesota Vikings look to make it 5 in a row against the Green Bay Packers and quarterback Anthony Dillway live on ESPN. Live and kicking earlier today at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. A couple of NFL heavyweights. The Philadelphia Eagles, winners of 5 in a row, and the Buffalo Bills, co-owners of the best record in the AFC at 9-2 going in. And it was a real heavyweight fight. The Bills scored early. Eagles scored big in the middle rounds. But it was Buffalo that was left with a couple of punches to pull out the decision. And I'll tell you what, Ray Bentley, one of his heroes is Alice Cooper. He was no more Mr. Nice Guy. He paints his eyes that way every now and then. Not often a nice guy, Andre Muddy Waters. Clean hit on Thurman Thomas with the flip. Shane Conlon with the stick on Heath Bar Sherman on the goal line. It was that sort of game. But I'll tell you what nobody in Philadelphia was expecting. Jim Kelly to James Lofton. And look at him go. The veteran races across the field and he could go all the way. 63 yards. The Bills lead at 7-0. 100th touchdown pass in the career of Jim Kelly. With the score 10-0 still in the first. A quick slant to Andre Reed. And guess what he's going to do? He beats Waters and Wes Hopkins. He goes all the way. 56 yards, 17-0 Buffalo.
Buffalo employing the no-huddle offense here. Kelly alert to the blitz. Both outside linebackers come. Middle of the field open. Andre Reed showing that speed that nobody suspects that he has. He just beats everybody to the end zone all the time.
Then, no-huddle offense. Kelly to wide open Lofton. He fakes Waters. Finally is run out of bounds. This set up a Thurman Thomas touchdown, and the Bills would lead at 24-0 at the end of the first quarter for Lofton. 174 yards receiving. More on that later. And for Jim Kelly, his first 300-yard day of the season passing. Defensively, while the Bills were running up a big lead, Bruce Smith made sure it stuck that way for a while.
In all likelihood, the fastest lineman off the ball in the NFL. And here he goes around Ron Heller. I don't even know if Ron Heller got a whiff of him there. Forces the bad throw. And he looks like he's offside on this play. He is not. He knocks the ball out of Randall Cunningham's grasp. It was not ruled a fumble. They did not even review it.
In the second quarter, Randall Cunningham was exactly where he wanted to be, down 24-0. On 2nd and 9, nobody open. Let him go. He cuts back. Randall ran for 71 yards on the day, 40 on this play. Look at this is a quarterback. Give us a break. Then on 2nd and 7 from the 18.
Certainly shows he's a quarterback here. The great play fake to Tony, and then shows that nice touch that he has when he gets inside the 20. And oh, let me tell you about Keith Jackson.
They missed the kick, and it's 24-6. Late in the second quarter, 3rd and 14. The play of the year, folks. Randall Cunningham in the end zone. Bruce Smith goes in for the sack. No, he doesn't get the sack. Running against his body. Throws it 60 yards. Fred Barnett makes the catch. Are you kidding? 95-yard touchdown from Cunningham to Fred Barnett. Rich Stadium stunned as the Eagles are shooting their way back in the ball game. I'm not sure I believe it, Tom.
The great athleticism of Randall Cunningham here. I think he got a peek behind him right there at Bruce Smith. He manages to duck out of it, keeps his poise, keeps his head and eyes upfield, and unleashes this ball off the wrong foot. It's all arm, and he throws it about 60 yards, and he can still go all the way.
There's a habit forming here. In the third quarter, on 3rd and goal, Cunningham to Keith Byers. He threw a 95-yarder, went after a 1-yarder, and it's a 24-23 Buffalo lead. In the fourth quarter, it's now 30-23, and here comes the sack machine. Cornelius Bennett gets to Cunningham. Then, does Randall have one play left? Down by a touchdown, 13 seconds to go. The hook and ladder. Out of bounds with 7 seconds to go. You know he can throw it all the way into the end zone. The Hail Mary, but can he throw it 80 yards? Almost far enough, but batted away, and the Bills remain undefeated at home this year. For Marv Levy, they're 7-0 in Rich Stadium, and the Bills beat the Philadelphia Eagles 30-23 in a wild, wild ball game. Nothing wilder than the play made by Randall Cunningham.
It was designed, I was supposed to drop back, fake to the right, then Bruce Smith was supposed to come and I was supposed to duck. He was supposed to jump over me and I was supposed to hit Calvin, but I had to go to Freddie. I guess the whole team knew that there were certain individuals in Buffalo that said we weren't going to win any games in December, and we wanted to shove it down a couple guys' throats, period.
Also in that ball game, James Lofton, a couple of milestones for him. He's one of those guys that he's just still fast, like Isaac Curtis, like Cliff Branch, like Wesley Walker, like Harold Jackson. Today, bad day for Don Maynard because on the receiving list, Lofton passed Ray Berry and Don Maynard, now 6th all-time in receptions. He also passed the Jet Hall of Famer on the all-time yardage list. Lofton now almost 12,000 yards. By the end of the year, he'll be second to only Steve Largent in that category. But let's get back to the ball game, Tommy. Obviously, the Bills scoring a lot today. And even though Randall was impressive at times, he had his hands full with the Bills' rush.
Well, Chris, you've talked about the maturing of Jim Kelly, and we saw more of the same of that today. But I thought that the biggest job on the day belonged to Bruce Smith, Cornelius Bennett, and Darryl Talley. And even though Randall Cunningham did make the big plays 3 or 4 during the day, I thought they did a pretty good job of containing him, or, you know, Philadelphia has the capabilities of putting up 35, 40 points.
I'll tell you what's been lost in all this is the fact that the Buffalo Bills, well, now you see it, they've scored more points than anybody in the NFL. They have a big play offense, and if they are at home in January with the best record in the AFC, I'm going to tell you right now, They're the Super Bowl team for the AFC. They're 21-2 in Rich Stadium the last 3 years. They're at home in January. You can just about kiss it goodbye. Miami, the team that would like not to let the Bills be at home, also started the day atop the AFC East at 9-2. They had a tough task, knocking helmets with the Washington Redskins. Let's go to RFK Stadium, where Don Shula and his defensive coordinator, Tom Alabadati, had the #1 defense in football. But they played the Hogs today, and it was a different story, mainly because of this man. Gerald Riggs out, Ernest Biner in. Biner up the middle for 11 very quick yards, so he still shows the quickness. Then Biner darting back and forth up the middle for a touchdown. 21-3 Washington at the half before the Dolphins even knew what was going on.
Play made famous here by the Washington Redskins. Counter trade, the offside guard, tackle, pull. Biner follows right, follows them in the hole. Cuts back, makes about 7 yards on the play.
Then Ernest Biner with more, 21 up the middle. He keeps going, 13. Biner again. This time he's up the middle for a touchdown, and the Skins lead at 35-6 in the third. For Ernest Biner, welcome back big time. 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. First 100-yard game rushing allowed by the Dolphins this year. Meanwhile, Mark Rippon was reading. Here he sees Gary Clark, member of the posse. Nice catch by Clark, 47 yards, and here it is again. Yeah, that'll work. Rippon. Talked about the venerable James Lofton. What about the Monk? 7 yards. Monk into the end zone for a touchdown. Rippon to Monk again. 10 catches for 92 yards for Art Monk today. And a pair of touchdowns, including this leaper in the back of the end zone. Mark Rippon, 21 of 28 on the day. 3 touchdown passes, 2 for 245 yards. And while we were saying hail to the Redskins, what went wrong with Miami?
Well, I think their problems began defensively with poor tackling. Here you see Biner get the ball for his 3rd touchdown. Number 77, Carl Wilson, misses him at the line of scrimmage, and that's just something the Dolphins have not been doing this year. Here you see Biner again getting the football. Cliff Odoms has a shot at him at the line of scrimmage, but can't bring him down. He goes for the extra 5, and then finally Brian Mitchell around the corner with Hugh Green making the miss. They also had a bit of poor pass coverage. Here you see Richie Sanders running wide open, and you just can't do that when you're playing the posse.
And even everybody got into the scoring column. Jimmy Johnson. Yeah, he got a touchdown from Rippon. Today, it was Rippon that made Dan Marino and the Dolphins jealous as the Dolphins fall from first place in the AFC East. They were lambasted by Washington 42-20. And frankly, Pete, today, Miami looked overmatched.
Well, they were. Physically, they were overmatched. And it reminds you that while the Dolphins have made great strides this year, they still have only beaten one good team all year. The good news for them is that team was Buffalo. They beat them in Joe Robbie, and they'll have to do it again in Rich Stadium. That'll be a little tougher, but Miami still might sneak in there.
Well, they could, but that's December 23rd. Christmas shopping in Buffalo for Miami. That is week 16. The Dolphins have lost to the Giants, as you mentioned, the Raiders and the Skins, all teams with big, tough offensive lines. When we come back, the Steelers and the Bengals atop the AFC Central. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Is it Boomer or is it Norman? Are they the Bengals or are they the Bangles? Well, 2 weeks ago, Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh 27-3. Last week they lost. So you knew what would happen this week when they played the Steelers again. Too bad for Pittsburgh. It was the wrong week. All right, let's go. As the good news for the Bengals, Anthony Munoz back in the lineup for Sam Weiss, along with Bruce Reimers, the 2 linemen hurt last week. Chuck Noll looking for career win number 200, but in the first quarter, down 3-0. He watched the play fake. Nobody's better at it than Boomer. We've said it repeatedly on the show. Eddie Brown is open, makes the move around Thomas Everett. It goes 50 yards, and very quickly, it's a 10-0 Cincinnati lead, Tom.
It is the great play fake, Chris. You see Boomer not only hide the ball with his body, but put it on his hip. And then if you watch the coverage as it's frozen here, 3 defenders running with McGee. Here comes Eddie Brown across the field in the opposite direction, breaks a tackle, and moves into the end zone for a touchdown.
Score is 7-3 Cincinnati. And with the score after field goal made it 7-6, the Bengals threaten again, but they fumble the ball. So maybe that was Norman Esiason Soon thereafter, Bubby Brister, when you're in the end zone, Tony, you got to get rid of it.
Yeah, and right here, he has to throw this ball away. He has to know that he can't afford the safety there. Big turnaround.
So that was a 2-point play there, and on the ensuing free kick, the Bengals turn it into a touchdown. So 9 points makes it 16-6 Cincinnati at the half. James Brooks didn't get 100 for the fourth straight time against the Steelers, but he had 81 impressive yards. And Bengal fans, yeah, they were out in their stripes. It's like Fred Edelstein at the game. And anyway, Louis Lips left the game in the first half, came back with a deep back bruise, and Bubby Brister used him repeatedly. 14 yards, 11 yards, set up a Gary Anderson field goal, made it 69, fourth quarter. Bubby, oh, let me tell you about Louis Lips for another 20 yards. 7 catches for 97 for Louis Lips, and that set up the fourth field goal of the day for Gary Anderson, who is the second fastest player to reach the 200 field goal mark in the NFL. Only Jan Stenerud has done it faster than Anderson. Big Steeler defensive play on 3rd and 1. Keith Willis beats Brooks, and the Bengals have to punt. The terrible Towels making a return this year at Three Rivers. The Steelers drive to the 6. They call timeout. Now, they don't give him one. When 2 men were in motion, Bubby said, we need a timeout. The clock continues to run. Bubby says, all right, let's run it. Why they didn't get a timeout, nobody is sure. But then when they try and call the play, too much time. And so this, coupled with a couple incompletions, enraged Chuck Noll and set the Steelers up on 4th down. Only Bill Russell could have caught that pass, not Eric Green. The Bengals take over on downs, and the Bengals beat the Steelers for the second time in 3 weeks to go back on top alone in the AFC Central. Chiefs at the Patriots. Patriot fans don't want to show their faces. They haven't won since before the Lisa Olson incident in week 2. That was after week 2. This week, Steve DeBerg, early on, like first play from scrimmage, to Stephon Pace, 86 yards. I mean, get the pole out of the way. Nobody was ready for this. 7-0 Kansas City. DeBerg, he has not crumbled this year. He stayed a solid quarterback. This to Rob Thomas, this to Todd McNair.
He is no longer throwing the INTs, and when you eliminate that from his game, Chris, suddenly you have an outstanding quarterback.
And, of course, against New England, I mean, it's not exactly like you're playing against the 49ers or the Giants. So this is 59 yards to J.J. Burton, or any other NFL team for that matter. DeBerg in the first half threw for 312 yards. That's the first half. Meanwhile, Rod Russ says, let's try the running game. All right, John Stevens. No. Then, John Stevens, tackled by Bruce Armstrong, his best blocker. So, Rod Russ says, let's try the pass. The youngster Tommy Hodson starting. George Adams isn't looking. Kevin Ross is. Almost picks it off. Hodson. Deron Cherry in the end zone. Picks it up, and Hodson. What? Rod Russ says, well, you know what we can do? We could punt. No. Albert Lewis blocks it. His 4th block of the season. And at least there's something to look forward to. The first draft pick. Chiefs running game took over from there. Barry, never a discouraging word. Ran for 112 yards. And even when backup quarterback Steve Pollard falls down, Christian Okoye scores one of his 2 touchdowns anyway. Bag it, New England. The Chiefs roll 37-7. The Saints at the Cowboys. Steve Walsh, now a member of the New Orleans Saints, returning to Big D to face his old team. The reason Walsh is gone, Troy Aikman. Who's the better quarterback? You take a look. In the first half, Walsh, 22 yards to Gil Fenity. Then Walsh to Floyd Turner, 11 yards. And that set up Ruben Mays. Ironhead with a big block, 15-yard touchdown by Mays, 10-0 Saints at the half. Second half, a different story. First play from scrimmage. Aikman. And he just continues to impress us every week, Tommy, to Kelvin Martin. This play, this little hitch, is turned into a 45-yard screamer. Then a plan B free agent that's paid off big time. Jay Novacek across, makes a couple of moves, sets up an Emmitt Smith touchdown. It's 10-7 New Orleans. After St. Field goal makes it 13-7, Aikman to Michael Irvin. Then Aikman, who completed 11 in a row in the second half. 15 yards to Kelvin Martin. Setting up 5-yarder to Darrell Johnston. The Cowboys lead 14-13 in the fourth. Yeah, in the second half, pretty good rating right there. Saints had one last chance to get the win. But Ironhead, after the reception, and Dallas recovers. And the Saints' vision of a wild card playoff berth has gone by, and the Cowboys are 6-7. By the way, both Aikman and Walsh passed exactly the same yardage, 177 yards, but the Cowboys have won 3 in a row. They win it 17-13. The Cowboys get the week off next week, and they're in the hunt. The Saints' loss gives the Niners the NFC West. When we return, we'll show you what happened at Mile High, another 20,000 league downer for the Broncos. But today we showed you some of the long passes. 3 of the 5 longest touchdown passes of the season happened today. Randall's of 95 yards, Vinny's today to Willie Soviet Drury, and Steve DeBerg's touchdown. All today. Horrible news for Bud Light fans. Quarterback Budway Joe was injured in practice. He's definitely out of Bud Bowl 3. So as a result, prognosticator Danny Sheridan has made Budweiser a 6-point favorite to win their 3rd straight Bud Bowl. Said Sheridan, Bud Light needs a quarterback, and besides, any way you look at it, Budweiser still has the horses. Will Bud Light find a quarterback? Can Budweiser three-peat? For Bud Bowl Update, I'm Chris Berman. Who was that guy anyway? The game we've all been waiting for in Week 13. Phoenix and Indianapolis.
Hey, the Colts are on the move.
They were.
They were on the move, yes. Now you gave it away.
Oh,
Well, you already did that
sorry.
earlier. But
I owe you.
they're a good team in the second half, you got to say, of the season. Since replacing Rod Dowhauer in 1986, Ron Meyer is 21-9 in the second half of the season when coaching the Colts. Heading into today's game with the Cardinals, they were 3-0 since the break, going for their first 4-0 streak since '88. But you know what? Dark Jacks, the Cardinals linebacker, sidelined because he was bitten severely on the foot trying to break up a dog fight. Rough game on the field as well. Johnny Johnson re-injures his bad ankle on a sweep. The terrific rookie would not return. Any quarterback Jeff George was knocked down by Freddie Joe Nunn, and the Colts running game has improved. Albert Bentley doing the job in the first quarter, going for 12 yards. Then on the delay for 16 more, Eric Dickerson was held in check for most of the day, but the Colts still ran well in the first half. The strong running sets up a play action on 4th and 1. George so wide open. Anthony Johnson for the easy score. It's 10-6 Colts at the half. Third quarter, George goes to the air to Jesse Hester on the slant, and Hester sprints 46 yards before he's caught from behind down at the Cards' 27-yard line. Then Hester again loses his man at the line of scrimmage and catches a rocket from George at 17-6 Colts. But the Cards, they get the breaks. 3rd and 15. Tim Rosenbaugh throws incomplete, but Chip Banks comes in way late. That gives Phoenix a first down. It sets up this Tim Rosenbaugh plunge from the 1, 17-13 Indy. Then the big play, 8 minutes left. George underthrows Hester, and Cedric Mack intercepts, and then he laterals over to Marcus Turner, who scampers in for the game-winning touchdown. Dexter Manley says, I think I'm going to like playing for the Cardinals. I like that exciting kind of play. It's 2017 Cardinals with the victory. Dickerson held to 3.5 yards a carry, only 17 carries for 60 yards. Let's check in on the Jets. And the lightning bolts in San Diego. Bruce Coslett had a lot to be worried about in the first half. Chargers punt. Donnie Elder saves the ball, and the Chargers down the ball on the 1-yard line. Ken O'Brien in his own end zone. He is intercepted by Donald Frank. It would set up a Merriam Butts touchdown run. O'Brien this time completes to Chris Dressel, who fumbles. The Chargers recover, sets up another Butts touchdown run. Pat Leahy had made 17 in a row, but not this time. Doesn't make 18, missing the 36-yarder. Dan Henning and the Chargers led 17-10 at the half. Third quarter, Billy Joe Tolliver looks to the end zone, and he finds Anthony Miller. A 24-yard scoring play, Chargers up 24-10. Tolliver fired up as the Jets gain momentum. Bruce Coslett can't seem to get a break. Ken O'Brien brought the Jets back. O'Brien connects with his favorite receiver, Al Toon. 8 yards out, Chargers lead cut to 24-17. Dan Henning feeling the heat of a Jet comeback. Merriam Butts got mean, though. Butts going 13 yards on the right side. Butts straight up the middle. 18 yards. It's simply taking tacklers down with him. Tolliver looks to the end zone and finds Nate Lewis. A 19-yard scoring play, the first of his career. Chargers up 31-17. Butts wasn't finished. Breaks tackles. Goes 52 yards to set up another touchdown. Marion Butts with 26 carries on the day, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns as the Chargers win 38-17. And Marion Butts, the first to go over the 1,000-yard mark with 1,154 yards. Marion Butts, as you say.
You like those lightning bolts?
I do.
I
They're
do.
strong.
You know I do. I think they're on their way. Maybe not this year, a year or so away, but they're showing the good signs. And the Jets were on their way, but they're really scuffling here the last part of the season. When we return, mile high between the Broncos and the Raiders. Overtime between the Oilers and the Seahawks. But first, 100-yard receivers. Yeah, top of the list. Senior citizen. You hate for me to have him call him that, but James Lofton, the still mercurial, Stephon Page, Billy Soviet Drury. And I wonder how Fred Barnett got 100 yards. Thanks, Randall. Rushers. We've got Chris Coleman of the Vikings. And we've got for Green Bay, Timmy Harris. You got to believe us. We're going to have Timmy Harris at the top of the hour as the Vikings play the Green Bay Packers. All right. We also have the Raiders and the Denver Broncos for you right now. From Mile High Stadium, they met in Week 1. The Raiders won at 14-9. Kind of been a downer for the Broncos ever since. Could they get back today on a cold and blustery day at Mile High? All eyes on Jay Schrader. Didn't know till Friday if he's going to be started with his injured left knee. Down 3-0 at the first. Schrader comes up gunning. 22 yards to Willie Gault over the middle. Then back to Gault, who toys for 18 more yards. Pretty good, huh? Then it's Ethan Horton with the nifty one-handed grab. And Horton spins down to the 3-yard line. Was Schrader ready to play early or what? 6 for 6 on the first series for 74 yards. Steve Smith punches it in. 7-3 LA for both Owls. John Elway taking a lot of abuse this season, but on 3rd and long, Tommy looks like the old John E.
Here Elway scrambling toward the sideline, but I love this about him. He refuses to run out of bounds, tries to run over 2 Raiders instead.
And then Elway does the Vance for 21 yards. It's a touchdown. Dan Reeves and company win it 10-7, a lead at 10-7. Second half, yeah, you've seen this, Tom. Raiders and Broncos renewing acquaintances. Scott Davis renewing acquaintances with John Elway.
Forces Elway up in the pocket here where Howie Long brings him down for the sack.
Another guy charge up, Bo Jackson. Bark, and he's gone. Look, get him go. Bo is the Bronco on that play, like Bronco Nagurski. 62 yards, 20-13, Los Angeles. Bo's day, thanks in part to that one. 13 carries, $117 for 2 touchdowns. With the score 23-20 LA, the Broncos trying to come back. Under 2 minutes to go. Elway to Vance Johnson for a 28-yard pickup. Yes, the feet are inbound. With 7 seconds to go, the tying field goal, David Treadwell, it's blocked. Now let's see what happened here.
Jerry Robinson gets some penetration, gets his hands way up in the air, blocks it with the right hand. And I couldn't see anything wrong with that kick. Just a great effort by Robinson.
Wasn't a chip shot as we thought before, but it doesn't matter. It wasn't good, and the Raiders keep pace with the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC West, winning 23-20. The Oilers, could they stay in first in the AFC Central? Run and shoot offense got a lot of rest early against Dave Craig and the Seattle Seahawks. And doing what they do best, ball control. The number 1 receiver in the AFC is fullback John L. Williams. Derek Benner, a large addition to the ground chuck game of the Seahawks. Here runs for 10 yards, keeping Warren Moon and company off the field. Moon watched as Chris Warren ran it in, and the Oilers were behind 7-3 at the half. When Moon got on the field, it wasn't good. The Oilers, who for the first time this year on their first possession, actually punted the ball. He got harassed. Moon then remembered that Jacob Green could still sack the passer. And he tried to take matters into his own hands. He couldn't do it. He dropped the ball to defender, and Seattle recovers. First half, 54 yards for the run and shoot, shooting itself in the foot. But Moon charged back in the second half. Ernest Gibbons from
Louisville.
Short pass for a touchdown. We're tied at 10. No dancing on this play. Alan Pinkett bobbles it. James Jefferson makes a nice interception. But the Oilers get it right back on a controversial call. Melvin Jenkins called for a defensive push on Hayward Jeffries. Ooh, that's a tough call. The ball's inside the 40. Instead of going for the field goal, Pardee decides to go for it. With no timeouts, they go over the middle, and the time runs out. So they go to overtime. First possession for the Oilers. Moon to Bernard, 40, fumbles. Dave Wyman recovers for Seattle, and as they did a week ago on an overtime miscue, Norm Johnson nails it. 41-yarder. It's good. And very, very, very quietly, the Seahawks are 6-6 and have a shot. They beat the Oilers 13-10, who look like a different club than they did on Monday night in their big win over the Buffalo Bills. When we return, the Axe will, of course, have his word on Philly and Buffalo and other topics of interest. 100-yard rushers, Marion Butts at 159 yards, over 1,000 yards for the season. What a great day for Ernest Biner. What an unbelievable run for Bo Jackson. Rozier and Barry Word, so 5 guys over 100 during a day. Vinny, we've been calling for him all year. Threw for 351 yards, leading the passing parade for Week 13. Tell you what, the Monday night game between the Giants and Niners should be outstanding at Candlestick Park, but so was the Eagles-Buffalo game at Rich Stadium. Axe, we were all jumping and screaming on that one.
Yes, Chris, you know, for 3 quarters today, I thought I was watching one of those truly Olympian football games, the kind that gets everybody excited and usually only happens every 4 years. 24-0 lead. The Eagles flashed back to 24-23. Randall Cunningham made the type of exquisite pass play that etches itself in the memory. I was in Yankee Stadium when John Unitas waved Raymond Berry downfield. Carl Karlevich, the defender, fell down, and the Colts took the Giants into overtime in perhaps the most pivotal game in the history of NFL popularity. I was on the sideline at the very spot where Duriel Harris caught a Don Strock pass and lateral to Tony Nathan for a touchdown, the hook and trailer play that produced the most exciting game the rickety old Orange Bowl has ever seen. I was in the studio today, but I was getting the same brand of goosebumps. Randall's 95-yard pass to Barnett was the stuff of Unitas legends. Thank God it wasn't ruined by the stupid in-the-grass rule. I was beginning to think that if a lineman even breathed on a quarterback, there would be a whistle. Call it the in-the-gas rule? But Randall beats all the rules. Today, he couldn't quite beat the Bills. The game was a microcosm of the season. We thought we would have a true Super Bowl tomorrow night, a battle of unbeatens. They both were beaten last week. We've enjoyed the antics of refreshing coaches like Buddy Ryan and Jerry Glanville, but they don't win enough. So naturally, this potential classic between the Eagles and the Bills was lateraled away by Seth Joyner. Then the Eagles' defense jumped offside at a key moment. The message? There are no honeymoons in football this year. Give me 3 periods of marital bliss. I'll give you 15 minutes of paying alimony. It reminds me of the Shel Silverstein song, Alimony, Alimony. I thought I bought steak, but it was all baloney. And we handicappers can appreciate the punchline to that verse. I'm paying for my mistakes. Chris?
That man always outlook on the social aspects of football, Pete Axum. But, you know, and speaking of Randall and the Eagles and looking at that, there are 5 Heisman Trophy winners running backs in the NFL. Randall has more yards rushing this year than 4 of the 5 of them. It's kind of unbelievable, including Marcus, Herschel, Mike Rozier, and Bo Jackson. Only Barry Sanders has more than Randall. That's kind of an interesting number gotten up by our crack stat crew. Let's take a look at the standings through Week 13, where atop the AFC East, it's the Buffalo Bills, who, if they keep rolling, will have home field through the playoffs in January in Buffalo. Of course, Dolphins have something to say about that. With Pittsburgh and Houston losing, of course, Pittsburgh losing to Cincy, it's the Bengals in an odd week, who are in first place by themselves in the Central. Out west, Chiefs and Raiders at 8-4, Seattle and San Diego in the hunt, at least wild card hunt. Denver. What? In the NFC, the Giants have already clinched at least a wild card berth. Washington and Philly at 7 and 5 look to be wild card squads. Dallas is in it. In the Central, the Bears clinch a wild card berth with their win in overtime over Detroit. And in the West, the Niners, by virtue of the Saints' loss, have clinched the division. Not that that was a nail-biter, but just thought you'd like to know.
NFL Primetime has been brought to you by AT&T, the right choice. By Sony, you only get one take in life. Take Sony Handycam. By Norelco Lift and Cut Shavers for a new level of closeness and comfort. And by 3M, worldwide sponsor of the 1992 Olympic Games.
That is Week 13 in NFL Primetime. We hope you will join us for Week 14 on NFL Game Day. And that, of course, kicks off at noon for an hour right up until kickoff every Sunday. The big one. I'll be flying out west. I can't pass up a West Coast trip. I do it every week. The Niners and the Giants. Tommy, some thoughts?
Well, I think we'll be able to tell by the amount of time that the game lasts how it went. If it's 2:30, 2:45, I think you've got a Giants win. If you see 3 hours plus, too much of Montana.
Well, you know, I thought the Giants were looking good in this game, but I'm troubled by LT starting to whine about how he's being used. I think that's a bad sign at this time of the year. And Otis Anderson, you're still boring.
Robin?
I don't need much time. You guys aren't really going out on a limb. Niners, not that that's really going out on a limb, but I'm not going to hedge around it. Niners, Joe Montana, that's the victory.
The J-Force, Joe and Jerry. Should be fun. We'll be reporting out on the Sports Center. For Tom, for Axe, for the only one going out on a limb, Robin, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching. Santa Claus is coming to town, and the Niners were coming to the jungle, where the Bengals took their Super Bowl nemesis to OT. When Santa does arrive, he's sure to bring many gifts in his sack, much like Bruce Smith of the Bills did. Maybe he'll bring a win to this Bill, whose Giants are suddenly not standing so tall. Or maybe Santa has already arrived in Houston, where his sleigh was obviously packed with Oiler touchdowns. 50 years after their 73-0 shellacking, the Skins were still struggling against the Bears. Hey, don't get upset. NFL Primetime is yours. Everybody, I'm Chris Berman. Welcome to week number 14 of ESPN's NFL Primetime. We have assembled the usual cast of characters to tell you what happened. That means Tom Jackson, Pete Axthelm, Robin Roberts, and yes, we will enjoy, won't we? Some teams enjoying themselves down to the final seconds. The late games around the league. Let's check the scores for you now. 21 seconds to go. The Bears have just crossed midfield, trailing the Redskins 10-9. At RFK. The Bears led it 9-0 at the half. They're trying to pull one out as they've done so many times this year. The New Orleans Saints and the Los Angeles Rams. Rams have one play left with the ball, trailing in Anaheim 24-20. And with a lot of time left, just under 10 minutes to go, the Chiefs are having a tough time with the Denver Broncos. They do lead, though, 24-20, but Bobby Humphrey's 2-yard touchdown run for Denver has drawn the Broncos to within 4 points as the games end. We will update you on the scores and, of course, show you the highlights a little bit later on. We're excited about our game here tonight on ESPN. The Miami Dolphins hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Dolphins began the day just a game behind the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. Eagles had been a hot team until the Bills smacked them last week. And Randall, no one's been hotter than Randall Cunningham.
Thank you, Chris. In less than an hour, we will be bringing you a pair of very exciting football teams, the Eagles and the Dolphins, from Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. Good evening, everybody. The Eagles are in very good shape in the playoff picture. In fact, to a man, they believe they're going to win their last 4 games and finish 11-5. The Dolphins are 9-3, but they have something to prove tonight. They want to show that they can play with one of the NFL's more physical football teams. As always, I'm joined by Joe Theismann. And Joe, the Dolphins are a lot better than they have been in a long time. And one of the reasons they made a commitment to upgrade the offensive line, and they did it through the draft.
They really did, Mike. Their first 2 picks were offensive linemen. The first one taken was Richmond Webb at tackle. The second one, Keith Sims at guard. Both of them very strong, very good rookies. Now, you have to take into consideration, if you're the quarterback and they go out and draft 2 rookie linemen, are you going to leave town right away? Dan Marino didn't do that. As a matter of fact, he's very pleased with their play. Offenses are built around the offensive line, and when you're a quarterback, your blind side certainly is a consideration. When you take a look at the teams that have won Super Bowls, the left side tandems have been a very big part of it. Ed Buddy and Jim Tyre from 63 to 72 for the Chiefs. Buddy went to 5 AFC All-Star games and 1 Pro Bowl. Tyre went to 6 AFC All-Star games and 2 Pro Bowls. And the Raiders had Gene Upshaw and Art Shell from 68 to 82. Upshaw, 1 AFC All-Star game, 6 Pro Bowls. Art Shell, 8 Pro Bowls, both of them in the Hall of Fame. And, of course, the Redskins had Russ Grimm and Joe Jacoby from 81 to 88, each of them playing in 4 Pro Bowls. Now, remember, all 3 of those I mentioned were all part of Super Bowl teams, and I'm sure the Dolphins hope that they'll be number 4 in the making.
Well, they'll have something to show tonight because they'll be facing one of the NFL's best defenses in Buddy Ryan's Eagles. It all comes your way at 8 o'clock Eastern. Hope you'll join us then. Right now, let's go back to Chris.
All right, Mike and Joe, thank you. What's nice is they each have their Floridian ties on tonight, so they're ready for the Dolphins against the Philadelphia Eagles, and we will be too. But we've just begun. Coming up, we'll show you how the Buffalo Bills, the team with the best record in the AFC, how they did on the road at the Indianapolis Colts, and everything else in Week 14. And keep it working.
Tonight's analysis is brought to you by Acura Automobiles. Experience precision-crafted performance.
Recently, Acura introduced what many have called the greatest sports car the world has ever known. Our latest idea is somewhat bigger. The new Acura Legend.
Welcome to the Ryobi test track, where the wood carver is going through its paces. Attach this beauty to an angle grinder and it gets you where you want to go fast. Let's take a spin. Look at this incredible cornering ability. See how it powers through the straightaways, handles the curves, and gets you in and out of tight spots. The Ryobi wood carver is beauty in motion. Check it out at a power tool supplier near you. The wood carver. It's another workaholic from Ryobi.
Fabulous. Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's, is always on the lookout for new ideas in food.
Enjoy it. Enjoy what? After this, I'm going to get a Big Dave's Deluxe.
A Big Dave's Deluxe is a quarter-pound of fresh beef, cheese, 3 strips of bacon, sautéed onions, the works. And it's only at Wendy's.
Hey, does this come with dessert?
Come to Wendy's for another Big Dave's Deluxe today.
The most impressive thing about the new Macintosh computers isn't how little they cost. It's how much they're worth.
It started with a hand, because shape and feel are as significant as lens and shutter. Introducing the Infinity Super Zoom 330 from Olympus, where great pictures and great design go hand in hand.
NFL Primetime is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. By Seiko, the future of time. Available at your authorized Seiko dealer. By Apple Computer in the new, more affordable line of Macintosh computers. And by Braun electric shavers. It is through superior design that superior performance can be achieved.
Back on NFL Primetime, we'd like to welcome those of you that have just watched the Redskins beat the Chicago Bears by the count of 10-9, and also welcome those of you that have just watched New Orleans Saints outlast the Los Angeles Rams 24-20. 4 straight years now, the Saints have won in Anaheim against the Rams highlights of both of those games a little bit later on in NFL primetime. Let's begin with the Buffalo Bills at the Indianapolis Colts. And this game had all the makings of a trap. In years past, the Buffalo Bills would see a game like this at the Colts, kind of lay down, not play well, and get smacked. They were 1-5 at the Hoosier Dome the last 6 years. But these Bills are not those Bills, as somebody might say. They're our Bills. Bruce Smith, dominant force. Everybody wants him for our Bills. Moss and Ray Donaldson, double team. That's the only way they keep him away from Jeff George on this play, but you can't always stop him.
You know, and part of his success, he's such a great player that the Bills move him around a little bit. Here he comes through the middle of the line. A good little stop and start there, puts pressure on Jeff George and bats down a pass.
When Jeff George was on the move, he couldn't escape Bruce Smith, who may have better speed. Smith had 4 sacks today, all of them in the first half, Tommy.
And we said you could double team him and stop him. You certainly can't leave him uncovered and expect him to do anything but crush Jeff George.
19 sacks on the season for Bruce Smith. And, oh, yes, the Bills' offense has scored more points than anybody in football. Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, 34-yard touchdown, 7-0 Bills very early. Next possession, same combination. Kelly to Reed for 13 yards. 2 plays later, Kelly over the middle to Reed, breaks the team touchdown reception mark held by Elbert Golden Wheels to Benyon. Reed now has 37, 21-0 Buffalo at the half.
One of the great receivers in this league, Chris, and Kelly knows that you get the ball to him on the cross slant, the short slant, and you just let him go with it. This looks like the same play. It is not, but they know that he has the kind of legs that once you complete the ball to him 15, 20 yards, even 70, 80 yards, it's not something that you don't think about.
Jeff George remembers his first NFL start. Week 1, it was against the Buffalo Bills. He was knocked out of the game. This time he showed a better arm, but the problem, John Hagee of the Bills was there to snare him. They picked him off 3 times. They also helped him up, but they also helped him down. Same guy, boom, number 97, Cornelius Bennett. When George got away, he had the deflected pass intercepted by Dr. Sack, of all people, Leon Seals. Obviously his first INT of his career, 3 on the day against Jeff George. And if that wasn't enough for Buffalo, they also have Thermal Thomas, a little warmer inside of the Hoosier Dome. He can catch it for 63 yards from Kelly, and he can go all the... No, he doesn't. He gets tackled here. But Thomas then runs up the middle, and he does go all the way. 23 yards for a touchdown. 76 yards rushing, 91 yards receiving, a $167 overall for Thurman Thomas. And the Bills just shellacked the Indianapolis Colts, 31-7 total offense. They had 408 yards, holding the Colts to only 127 yards. And Tommy, we said before, this the type of game that the Bills would lose in the past, but they're showing something different this year. Killer instinct.
Well, killer instinct, and the thing I like is, you know, you look at the Giants, the Niners, the Chicago Bears, all teams headed for the playoffs. That's the kind of team that the Bills are. They're strong defensively, and the thing that's most impressive is they run the ball, yes, with Thurman Thomas, but they run it with everyone. That offensive line gets the job done blocking.
Tom, I have to throw in a mathematical note. I've been hunched over my computer working out incredibly complex permutations all afternoon. And I think I can say with a degree of reliability, the Colts aren't going to make the playoffs, Tom.
This just in.
Pete, I think your computer was like this. Colts out. They're probably mathematically alive, but way to go out on a limb. One guy that's going out on a limb this year is Bruce Smith, because he is on line, perhaps, to break the NFL record for sacks. Now, they only started keeping record of this in the last decade. Mark Gastineau of the Jets danced 22 times back in 1984. Bruce Smith already, with 3 games to go, has 19. When we come back, the Patriots and Browns, two great squads.
If you want the best in quality sporting goods at great low prices, then head over to Court Sporting Goods in Providence. Courts has a terrific selection of brand name footwear and athletic clothing like Nike, Adidas, Reebok, and Champion. Plus, Courts has a full line of starter hats and jackets and a great selection of college team hats. You'll look great in the newest styles of the Nike Air Jordan clothing and footwear. For the best selection of sporting goods and clothing at extra special low prices, shop at Court Sporting Goods and get the personal service you deserve. Smith Street, Providence, opposite LaSalle Academy.
You're looking at a $250 suit. The reason it fits so well is because Manise Tailoring did complete alterations for just $38. This $300 leather jacket was taken in 2 full sizes. Manise did the whole job for just $45. Manise can alter, repair, or completely rebuild your clothes for an amazingly low price. When Manise is done, your clothes will look as good and fit even better than the day you bought them. Manise is fast and guarantees your complete satisfaction. Manise Tailoring, 228 Taunton Avenue, East Providence.
Monday night, North Carolina has the talent to return to the top of college basketball. But first, they must defuse Rick Pitino's up-and-coming Kentucky Wildcats. Monday night at 9 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Still working on Pete's computer here. Welcome back to NFL Primetime. Robin Roberts is with us now, and your own computer said that Chuck Noll was just, what, one shy of 200 wins, right?
Yeah, that wasn't too difficult. Carry the one at, you really thought at the beginning of the year, the way they were starting off so slow, you weren't sure if he was going to get to number 200. And that tough loss last week to Cincinnati, and after a tough divisional loss like that, it had to be nice for the Steelers to know that they would face the lowly Patriots on the field today, losers of 10 straight, and Chuck Noll trying to make that elite club, trying to do what only 4 other men have done, and that is win 200 games in his coaching career. Pittsburgh's first play from scrimmage. Tim Worley has it. No, he doesn't. Coughs it up. Fred Marion recovers it for New England. Former Steeler great mean Joe Green wants his team to retaliate. John Stevens fumbles it right back. Jarrell Williams recovers for Pittsburgh. Second quarter, it's 3-0 Pittsburgh. Tim Worley with a tough 12-yard run down to the 38-yard line. But Worley would give it up again, and once again, Fred Marion recovers.